Right now, somewhere in the world, a loving parent is holding their child and slowly teaching that child's brain to be afraid. Not intentionally, not out of cruelty, out of love. And the worst part? The child will never be able to tell you it's happening. Here's what most people don't understand about babies. A newborn enters this world without language, without memory, without any frame of reference for what is safe and what is dangerous. But their brain is not empty. It is recording every sound, every touch, every expression on your face, every second you walk away and every second you come back. It is all being logged into a biological hard drive, one that will shape the architecture of who this child becomes for the next 70 years. Scientists call this the sensitive period, a narrow window of time when the infant brain is not just learning, it is being built. And what builds it is you. The question is, what exactly are you building? Most parents believe that what matters most is the big moments. The birthday parties, the school choices, the nutrition, the screen time rules. And those things matter, yes. But developmental psychologists have discovered something that quietly overturns that entire belief. It is not the big moments that shape a child's brain most deeply. It is the small ones. The tone of your voice during a diaper change. The expression on your face when your baby cries and you don't immediately respond. The way your body tenses when you're stressed while holding them. These micro moments, the ones you barely notice, are being absorbed by a nervous system that has no filter. No context. No ability to reason. The infant brain doesn't think, feels, and it adapts. And some of those adaptations, they look like survival, but they function like wounds. In the late 1990s, researchers at Harvard Center on the Developing Child introduced a concept that would change how we understand early childhood forever. They called it serve and return. The idea is simple but profound. When a baby makes a sound, a gesture, or a facial expression, that is a serve. And when a caregiver responds with warmth, eye contact, or a mirroring expression, that is the return. What they found surprised everyone in the room. These tiny back-and-forth exchanges are not just moments of bonding. They are literally constructing neural pathways. The brain of an infant who experiences consistent serve and return interactions develops differently, measurably differently, than a brain that doesn't. More connections, more resilience, more capacity for emotional regulation. And a brain deprived of those returns? It begins to wire for something else entirely. Anxiety, hypervigilance, a nervous system constantly waiting for a threat that may never come. Not because the parent was absent, but because the pattern was broken. Here is the part nobody tells you. You don't have to be a bad parent to wire your child's brain for stress. You just have to be distracted, tired, overwhelmed, human. A landmark study from the University of Massachusetts, now known as the still face experiment, showed something that disturbed every scientist in the lab. A mother and her infant were playing normally, smiling, cooing, connecting. Then the researcher asked the mother to go completely still. Blank face. No response. No expression. Within seconds the baby began to change. First confusion. Then attempts to re-engage. Pointing. Reaching. Smiling more desperately. Then when nothing came back, the baby turned inward. Looked away. Slumped. Their heart rate spiked. Cortisol flooded their tiny body. In under 2 minutes, a healthy, loved infant had entered a state of physiological distress. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable. That still face. It looks exactly like a parent staring at their phone. But here's where it gets even stranger. The damage isn't in the moment. It's in the repetition. Imagine a baby named Lena. 6 months old. Bright eyes. A laugh that could fill a room. Her parents are good people. Loving people. But they are exhausted, the way all new parents are exhausted. So there are patterns. Small, invisible patterns. When Lena cries at night, sometimes her father waits a few minutes before going in. He read that this teaches independence. When her mother is scrolling through her phone during a feeding, she doesn't notice Lena looking up at her face, searching for a smile. When Lena reaches out during tummy time, neither parent mirrors the expression on her face. They're talking to each other about dinner. None of this is abuse. None of this is neglect. But Lena's brain, that extraordinary recording building machine, is calculating the odds. How often does my signal get a response? How often does my need get met? How often does the face I love most look back at me? And based on those odds, Lena's nervous system begins to build a model of the world. Is it safe here? Or do I need to work harder to be seen? By the age of 1, that model is already influencing her behavior. By 5, it shapes how she handles conflict. By 30, it may determine how she loves. You are not just watching this as a parent or a future parent. You are watching this as someone who was an infant. Every adult walking the earth today passed through this window. Every fear response, every attachment pattern, every way you instinctively reach toward or pull away from the people you love, it was drafted in those first months of life. You are not just observing this. You are living it. And the extraordinary thing is this. Once you understand the mechanism, you can begin to interrupt it. In your own life. And in the life of the child looking up at you. So let's get specific. Here are 8 daily habits that psychologists are asking parents to stop. Not because you are a bad parent, but because the science says the brain of your child is counting on it. Habit 1. Responding to crying with frustration instead of presence. When a baby cries and the caregiver's first response is visible irritation, the infant doesn't understand frustration. They understand danger. The nervous system reads that tension and files it under threat. Over time, expressing a need begins to feel unsafe. Habit 2. The scrolling silence. We talked about the still face. A phone creates the same effect. The face your baby needs is unavailable. And they notice. Every single time. Habit 3. Using cry it out without rupture repair. The debate around sleep training is complex. But what the research is clear about is this. If a baby is left to cry without any eventual reconnection, without you going back and soothing them, the cortisol spike doesn't just settle. It teaches the nervous system that distress is a permanent state. Rupture without repair is what creates insecure attachment. Not the rupture itself. Habit 4. Suppressing your own emotions in front of your child. Infants are emotional mirrors. They don't need you to be happy all the time. They need you to be real. A parent who modulates their emotions, who feels, expresses, and recovers, teaches the child's brain that emotions are survivable. A parent who goes blank or explodes without resolution teaches something very different. Habit 5. Skipping eye contact during routine care. Diaper changes. Feedings. Baths. These feel mundane to you. To your infant, they are the primary stage for connection. The eye contact you make, or don't make, during these moments is the fabric of your relationship. Habit 6. Overstimulation disguised as play. Loud toys. Rapid movement. Constant noise. The infant nervous system is not designed for sustained high stimulation. When a baby looks away during play, they are not bored. They are regulating. Following their cues is not permissiveness. It is neurological respect. Habit 7. Dismissing fear responses as overreaction. A baby startles at a loud noise. An adult laughs and says, "You're fine." But the infant brain did not decide to be startled. It responded automatically. When that response is dismissed rather than acknowledged, the child begins to learn that their internal experience is not valid. That lesson follows them for decades. Habit 8. Inconsistency in response patterns. This is perhaps the most underestimated. Infants do not need perfection. They need predictability. A parent who responds 60% of the time with warmth and 40% of the time with indifference creates more anxiety than a parent who is consistently calm and slightly reserved. The brain craves a pattern it can trust. Inconsistency is its own form of chronic stress. Here is the important thing to hold. None of this is a sentence. The brain is not a locked vault. Research from the same institutions that uncovered these vulnerabilities also discovered something called neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to rewire, even after early stress. But there is a window. And it is closing. Not tomorrow. Not next year. But gradually, the scaffolding of the nervous system becomes more fixed. The patterns become more automatic. The voice that tells a child, "I am safe," or "I must work hard to be loved," becomes quieter, until it sounds like their own thoughts. What you do today in the small, unscripted moments, the glances, the pauses, the returns, is not parenting. It is architecture. There is a word in Portuguese, saudade. It describes a longing for something you've lost. Or perhaps for something you never had but somehow still feel the absence of. Many adults carry a saudade they cannot name. A hunger for safety they've never been able to find in anyone's arms. A restlessness in love. a fear of being truly seen. They don't know where it came from. But a developmental psychologist could tell you. Came from a series of small moments. Before language. Before memory. Before the child had any words to call it anything. You have a chance. Right now. In the most ordinary moments of your day. Look at your child. Really look. Let them see your face. Let them hear your voice soften. Let them feel the pause where you chose presence over distraction. Because the brain being built in front of you is not just your child's brain. It is the blueprint of the adult who will one day walk through this world, either armored with the belief that they are loved, or quietly searching for proof. You are the proof. Now here's a question I want you to sit with. If your infant's first emotional experiences become the template for all future relationships, what template were you given? That question opens a door most people are afraid to walk through. In the next video we go deeper into the science of how childhood attachment patterns live in the adult body, and what neuroscience says you can actually do to change them. If that intrigues you, the next video is already waiting.